So, are you ready to start?
Ready?
All right, let me. Yeah. Oh, I need to do my workout later today. Actually, I've been trying to get better about getting a schedule back into play, and it's neither here nor there. Okay, let's go. All right.
That's essentially how I feel about life. Full of loneliness and misery and suffering and unhappiness. And it's all over much too quickly. The question is, have I learned anything about life?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Essence of Zen After Dark, your one-stop shop podcast for everything related to geek and nerd culture alike, ranging from technology to entertainment, anime, movies, cartoons, and worldly news that you might be expected to hear from your host, Zane Zilkai Blaylock, coming to you, well, I was going to say live, but not live. And of course, you cannot forget the studio's co-host, the man of the hour, the man with the plan, the man whose wife is playing Sims in the background. I'm talking about the one and only Louis, that Mexican with a K, Sandoval, Louis Sando with the Lambo, as I used to say. How goes it, Louis? How are you?
Doing pretty well. No Lambo yet. Still in the works.
The economy does not yet support people owning Lambos. So
I had a friend tell me that if the Bitcoin ever skyrockets, that Lambos are an actually good idea. That should get something more reliable. I'm like, all right.
Okay, so for any of the listeners or viewers out there, we do have a video version of the podcast you can find directly on youtube.com/essence of zen, as well as potentially through Spotify now that and we'll get into this a bit later. But for those who do not know, our show is primarily that of a bunch of topics that we bleed into tangents, and I have a tangent right now. Sir, have you heard about the annoyances that exist around owning a Lamborghini?
Um, no. My friend, when he told me that, he sent a video of like a Lamborghini on fire on the side of the road. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I don't want that defect, whatever that is. But what are some other annoyances?
No, okay. So aside from, I'm assuming their build quality in terms of reliability and engine and specs and whatnot. No, apparently, when you buy a Lamborghini, you have to sign certain agreements and legalese paperwork about what you can and what you cannot and what you will not do with said Lambo.
Hmm.
I don't know if you recall the famous DJ Dead Mouse 5. I don't know if you've heard
I
of
think
him.
I've heard of him. Yeah, he
Yeah.
makes like some electronic polka music. I think that's what the kids listen to, right?
Love it. Dead Mouse for the colloquial layman. Yeah, he owned a Lambo and he scanned it with a Nyan Cat design. Apparently, from that point on, Lambo the company has been trying to repossess that particular Lambo from him for years. And I don't know if they actually succeeded or not recently, but I remember it came back up in the news. So, it feels like the levels to right to repair in terms of making sure you own what you own is continuously taking other steps into absurdity and other areas that I personally would not have expected to see levels of right to repair, or I guess in this case, right to modify. Because my goodness.
I was gonna say, there's Louis Rossman out there just cried.
Oof. But, for the show, we're gonna start into like one of our early segments for the scheduling, and so I wanted to make a point because I do know we had a good friend of ours, Edson, who showed up in the comment section of the last episode and was like, "Hey, good stuff. Hope everything's okay." because I mentioned the show was late due to unexpected events, and in terms of us doing this recording here, I believe it's been about nearly 2 months, just about, give or take, I think. I don't know.
That'd be 2 months. Yeah, it feels like 2 months.
Yeah. And so to explain a little bit about those who might be curious, two factors. One, me. Personal life and day job has gotten super freaking chaotic. But more specifically, number two, or dos, as anybody of our Spanish-speaking listeners / viewers might attend to, yo habla en español. I was gonna say mi hermanos and mi hermanas, but I don't know if that's a weird dialect to use in terms of being like, oh, I'm being sensual with my Spanish to my brothers and sisters. Like, that might come off completely weird, and we might get flagged from YouTube for other reasons. But I digress. So last year or 2 years ago, during our airing of the After Dark podcast show, we talked about how Spotify essentially bought Anchor. And over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've made another step in terms of their consolidation and integration, as one would speak, right? So Anchor is pretty much no more at all. And Anchor has now become, and I quote, podcast for Spotify. So, yeah, we're going to be looking into what all comes with that, the ins and outs, legally, standards, practices. Because I don't think our previous setup for audio submissions from viewers is even the same anymore. And I have no qualms with Spotify. Spotify is what Spotify does. But I have qualms with where I upload the show to have the files maintained and seeded with the RSS feed regarding the actual show's episodes and how they react to other platforms. And seeing this kind of all happen and twist around has me a bit uneasy. So I'm looking into other avenues in terms of where to potentially host the actual files in regards to our video production and audio only production. So that's also why it's been a bit of a delay in getting episode 3 up. Just want to throw that out there. Lewis, do you have any thoughts or opinions on Spotify completely axing all of entirety of Anchor.fm?
Just happens sometimes. Part of mergers. Sometimes they'll say they'll keep them alive separately, like a its own entity. Like Microsoft and GitHub is one that comes to mind right now. And sometimes they gut them. And then sometimes they change their mind, right? Like, oh, we're going to keep it as is. And like, yeah, never mind.
I swear, we can... What the hell? But yeah, so for those who are interested in getting started with podcasts, I had a video that was in the works because we had a long-time listener who's been very interested in the ins and outs of how we do the podcast and the setup for it. That has to be scrapped now because Anchor FM is no more. And I'm going to have to redo that entire thing, but with just, I guess, Spotify and potentially other avenues. And to said viewers specifically, hope you're doing well. I have not reached out to you in a hot minute. I when I do reach out to you, I'm going to ask you more so about that other podcast platform that we spoke about 2.5 years ago. So... They know who they are. But for anyone who's looking to get interested in the podcast, I would still say, yeah, go the route of whatever remnants of Anchor.fm there is. Spotify specifically is still a great way to get started. And then just look into other ways to pivot and change as time goes on. That said, though, I think it's happening again. But nevertheless, things go on. Louis, when was the last time you checked out E3?
It's been a hot minute. I mean, I know of people that have gone to E3, but I myself have never been, and I usually don't keep up much with E3. Mostly of, what is it? Man, I want to say CNET. The yearly conference now, I'm blanking out at the beginning of each year. That's that conference for new tech stuff. The name's escaping me right now.
Is it? It's not the was it
And
WEC
no,
something?
that's Apple. No, it's WWDC.
Ah, yeah, okay. So
No, it's in Vegas each year. I gotta remember as soon as the podcast is over, like, oh,
again, for any listeners and viewers who are watching who wants to be a dedicated fact checker who can be in the comment section or the Discord chat at a moment's notice to correct us and give us some hints, reach out to afterdark@essenceofden.org and send us an email. We'll thoroughly check out your potential nomination. But yeah, so I'm in the same boat. I haven't really cared about E3 for a hot minute. I do know E3 has been in hot waters for a hot minute ever since all of the big players such as Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have decided to go with their own avenue of doing their individual type of press conferences. They can just do like a YouTube event, just show off some new games and some new projects and call it a day without spending a bunch of money on a booth and flying out employees and staff and etc. So I get that. But this might have been the actual final set of nails in the coffin for E3 as a conference as a whole. E3 has been struggling for like the last 4 to 5, maybe even potentially even 10 years if you want to go like the early signs of cracks happening in the ship. But I legit don't know if they have a presence in the community zeitgeist moving forward. I really don't know. When we think about the electronics consumer, or actually, what does ET stand for?
I was hoping you know. I was like, oh man, good thing he knows.
I used to know. It's the oh my god.
Electronics something expo. Electronics event.
Hold on. I'm going.
I just blanked out on conference names today.
Okay, it is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Yes.
Entertainment.
Whoo! Editing magic. Do you?
It's gonna be like a Japanese anime where it's just not gonna match our lips. We just hastily edit the audio.
I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, like, so it's as an expo, as a conference, as an entity. Yeah, we're gonna have a hard time seeing it move forward as an established thing. I've talked with some friends and some individuals who are in the gaming industry, so game development, game marketing, and etc. And they're not surprised by it, but at the same time, again, it's one of those. We're seeing the landscapes of an industry morph and adapt to just the ebbs and flows of the current time. And when I think of that presence or that concept, as in, things change, time moves on, things adapt. So with E3, let's just say E3 is out the door, it's dead, it's old, bury it, go to a retirement home. That makes me sound very rude to our elderly in a sense, but specifically for E3. Let's say it's come and gone. It's done its thing. It's no longer what we need to be focused on for the future in terms of expos, conventions, and etc. And we stick with the individual presence of Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, maybe even Google, and these other developers, maybe individual studios doing their own press conferences, such as Grinding Gear Games for Path of Exile 2, which I'm incredibly excited for. Ubisoft and Electronic Arts and the like. Let's say they all do their individual thing, right? Will that be a negative mark in terms of culture? Because we will no longer have this thing where people every year fly out to have like an in-person experience to see things hands-on, to speak with voice actors and developers and people who are hands-on with said projects firsthand in person. Will there be a type of regret of no longer having these events with the presences of said individuals from these projects located and listed in a place where the everyday user can buy a ticket to actually go see firsthand and have a dialogue with? Lewis, do you have any thoughts on that? Throwing you in the hot seat.
I'm not sure. Maybe it'd get games released on time. Like what was it? Dying Light, I think, was delayed a few times. Um, but I'm not sure. Even if it did help with that, let's say games being released on time, people like build up hype for it.
Mm.
I don't think it solved the DLC issue where a game feels like it's half released or whatever. I think I heard something similar for Callisto Protocol, the one made by the Dead Space guys.
Yeah.
How I just remember reading reviews about people saying that the game feels incomplete and that the DLC feels like it's the real ending. That the ending you get doesn't feel complete. That when you buy the DLC, it does feel like a complete game. That kind of problem.
Mm. I can definitely. Oh, what the hell? My mice. Where's my mouse? Oh, okay. Well, my mouse just quite literal. Oh my goodness! I don't even know.
Uh-oh.
I've never seen this happen before. Like the mouse is completely gone. But anyway, you gave us a fantastic, phenomenal segue about us potentially being hacked, just like our next topic. Dude, what were your thoughts on LTT/LMG being hacked last week?
I was kind of confused. I thought it was some sort of prank. I was like, is this like some early April Fool's thing going on? Or what's going on here? Um, it took me a minute to realize like, oh no, they're being serious. And then uh, I guess until because I don't really follow them on Twitter, and then until I actually started seeing screenshots coming up of like those crypto videos, I was like, gotcha. Okay, I believe you guys now. I don't think they'd actually do all that. But yeah, I didn't believe it at first. I was like, how can these guys mess up? They seem like to be on the up and up on everything.
Mm.
So I'm guessing it was some uh, vendor attacks, third party thing, or some Google internal staff scuffle. I have no idea. When he's made enemies there with someone, I have no idea.
So apparently the way that the hack went down, and they've made jokes, and by they I mean Linus Media Group, Linus Tech Tips, etc. They've made jokes saying it was a security breach by way of Colton, which, from what I can tell, is not actually what happened. That's like the running gag because for those who do not watch Linus Tech Tips or Linus Media Groups. Colton is a long-term employee who's been there. I mean, from very early in their efforts, and it's kind of a running gag to take a crap on Colton. That's the actual gag. What it seems to have actually happened was actually one of their managerial positions, people who the financial team or the marketing team, people who are not normally faced on a camera or even deal with show production things. And so they got an email from someone claiming to be a potential backer, sponsor, vendor, or whatever, trying to buy ad space, saying, we have this product, here's a file talking about what this product covers. And the file was essentially one of those fake files that pretends to be a PDF, but if you actually look at the full name, it's actually .pdf.com or something else. Basically, so you would think it's a PDF about a different document, essentially talking about a website or a potential product. When the user who downloaded said file opened that file, thinking it was going to be a document talking about whatever product for said sponsorship plea or audition, I guess. I'm not sure how the proper terminology used in this particular situation. It ran a script in the background that not only copied cookies and browser configuration files and etc., but enough data and enough files specifically to essentially imitate the actual browsing session of that user's I guess browser. In this case, I think they confirmed it was through Chrome and etc. So with those cookies and with that mirrored imitation of their browser history or like their browser session, they were able to go to places like YouTube.com and have access to things that were already signed in. And there's another there's like 2 or 3 YouTubers, I believe, that have full-on explanations of this potential hacking, methodology. Because I use the term hack lightly. It is hacking. It is a form of hacking, but it's not like brute forcing your credentials. It is literally taking what was on your computer and cloning said files that made it seem as if your browser was still in the exact same session while running on a different system. So terminology matters, but at the end of the day, it's all kind of the same terminology or process, I guess. Lewis, I'm not sure if you have any distinctions.
Yeah, it's like
a
session hijacking attack, right? Because you steal their cookies, you steal their auth session. Yeah, I know what they're talking about. I did a project like that at UAT. I simulated something like that.
Well, I mean, Lewis, you're making it sound like you steal cookies on a daily basis.
Not necessarily. No, I do not.
We are not in cahoots with the Keebler elves, and we do not steal cookies from other forms of familial elves. We are not a part of the cookie mafia. I do like a good biscotti, though. I'm not gonna lie. Biscotti and a coffee. Oh man,
That sounds delicious.
But yes, that's the situation when it comes to Linus Media Group's Linus Tech Tips and essentially the hacking that went on there. Again, more power to them and their efforts. They got everything back, and of course, I'm not sure if you also are privy to their WAN Show podcast show, but apparently them being hacked did wonders for their float plane subscription service. So, I mean,
it was an inside job. They just paid the whole thing.
Tinfoil hat it, Lewis. Tinfoil hats.
I need to get a roll and just leave it here at the desk.
Oh man, we're already like nearly 30 minutes in, and we're still within our light topics. This is this is normal.
This is gonna say typical, yeah. Just another podcast.
Yeah. Oh, also, let me just make a quick note for those who are a lot of people thought Lewis seeing your face cam, Lewis is like, oh, I finally get to see the voice or the face behind the voice. I do want to make a quick note because someone actually mistook this. Lewis is not the same person that streams with me on the gaming aspect for our projects, right? So like Dying Light 2. That's Ryan. Ryan is different from Lewis. Right?
We're indeed different people, I can confirm.
Yeah. Lewis is of Mexican descent. Ryan is of West Indies, so like various different types of African connections, as well as Indian, as in like native India, not like Native American Indians, but actual from the country India, you know. So just wanted to point that out there, just make that known. Two different people. Oh man. Oh God. I just had to pick the funny topic to go into before segueing into a very sad type of story.
You got murked.
Yeah. So we got some news about the founder of Cash App, as well as someone who worked with Square or Square Enix specifically. But the individual Bob Lee has passed away. I think last week it was found. I think there's some new evidence and information that's currently dropped, but we won't be showing it on this particular podcast in this episode. But Bobby Lee was, it's currently believed he was murdered. They believe they have enough evidence to showcase that he was in fact stabbed. More recent video evidence shows him leaning against some type of closed restaurant's window, and he's holding himself. He's stumbling. It's overall just some sad stuff. But just I guess be safe out in the world. But yeah, it's sad that a notable figure, creator of Cash App, worked with Square Enix on a few projects, etc., has passed away. And hopefully they find the perp who's responsible. But I guess we'll see in due time. Lewis, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's a rough way to go. When I got the news that he died, I was like, oh, heart attack or like old age or something. Like, oh no, bad. Like, holy moly.
Yeah. So I guess just as a reminder to be safe out in the world, people are not all. They're not all there mentally, I guess, or even morally, or just on a basic set of human standards. So it is what it is. But yeah, and while we're still here as well as another bit of news, another tech industry. Oh, I don't have this one open. Oh man, I feel bad. Hold on. The namesake behind Moore's Law, which is the law stating that within 10 years' time, so just in general, chips we're going to see their transistors double every year or every other year for the next 10 years. And it was essentially found to be true going into about 40 years. So essentially, the theory from Gordon Moore lasted 4 times as long as the initial declaration of said theory, I guess. But that guy, Gordon Moore, has passed away due to old age and natural causes, the ripe old age of 94. So he got to see not only his corrections being correct, but also, I guess, also seeing Intel lead the coming ages of CPU superiority for many decades to come. But we're still around to also see AMD kind of give him one last. I was gonna say stab, but that makes the previous story not
emotional damage.
In other news, Lewis, do you have a preference between augmented reality or virtual reality?
Mine is augmented. Just like one little pinky in the pond, one little toe, I guess. I think for augmented.
I'm sorry, you're talking about pinkies in the pond and thing. I thought you were going to exponentially ramp the circumstances up. Like, a pinky in the pond, a thumb in the lake, in the ocean.
I think I see where you were going with it. No, I think it's for augmented. I think it's just enough for people to still stay interested. I think virtual reality is kind of just jumping fully in, and I don't think the tech is good enough just yet. I think we're gonna see it simmer down, and then maybe like in 20, 30 years, you're gonna see a resurgence once the tech is good enough, and there's not as many wires and dongles and issues with latency, and the technology has finally caught up for it.
I think I'm in the same boat. Augmented reality to me has always been more interesting and more. It shows more possibilities, in my opinion, than virtual reality. And I know a lot of people are going to sit here and go like, what do you mean augmented reality shows more possibilities than virtual reality? Virtual reality stems into the potential features of like quote unquote full dive technology, Not sure if you've ever heard that statement before, Lewis.
I've not, but it sounds familiar to what I just described.
So full dive, I think, has essentially been coined and cultivated by the weeaboo group of individuals, that being fans of anime. There's a particular anime called Sword Art Online that features technology where you can put on a head device and essentially send your conscious. Let's not even give it full credit to Sword Art Online. The Matrix, where you could plug in some weird cerebral jack and fully send your consciousness into a simulated world. And so, like, that's the idea of full dive technology, to be able to take your consciousness and put it into a completely total virtual world and have it so when you die in the game, you die in real life. No, I'm joking. Well, I mean, that's actually accurate in terms of the aspects of it, but I mean, nothing in terms of the theory states it has to have it where if you die in the game, you die in real life. So, tangents, everybody. So that's full dive technology, but like that's still, we're very far off from anywhere near close to full dive technology, and even then, to me personally, I still hold true to the fact that I think augmented reality is far more interesting and shows more capabilities towards more possibilities, more growth, more usefulness, right? If I can have a headset that shows me what I'm looking at and can have a type of overlay that zooms in and sees a dog and then starts loading data about the dog's breed, the name, the age, if whatever thing I'm wearing can potentially identify the possibility dependent on the breed and how likely, percentage-wise, said dog is going to have genetic problems. That's just more useful. I love the idea of full diving into a virtual world. Believe me, the day that I can fully go to Tamriel from the Elder Scrolls series, my plane ticket is booked. But I don't know. It's not the same level of use as your everyday interacting with reality. And I'm not going to go on a soapbox spew about my thoughts on how people no longer have a grasp on reality. So I'm going to just leave that there. Louis, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Kind of keeps one foot in reality and one foot in like the imaginary. And I've seen software where it combines it with like a dummy, like some dummy with sensors, to help train like nurses on like what techniques to use or like where to put your like your hands on like the dummy that's been like calibrated with this like piece of software to like try to resuscitate somebody, or like there's specific room set up to show like, you know, a little indicator like, hey, like you need like this tool kind of thing to like help train them in like their career or whatever. And I think I've seen something similar for surgeons, like as an assistant or something, not necessarily like for training, but more like to kind of like, oh, this is probably like this part and stuff like that.
I'm trying not to burst out into laughter because you mentioned, you know, resuscitating people and like training for nurses. There's an old video that I'm sorry, it makes me laugh every time I think about it. It's a video clip of like a class showing how to give someone CPR. And this person is doing like on the dummy the CPR movements and doing the mouth breathing.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And during the chest compressions, he slaps the face of the dummy.
Bobby.
Yeah, and the teacher's kind of like, excuse me, no, we don't do that.
Let's go. Let's go. Excuse me. They're not toys, okay?
And so I could not help but think of that clip when you mentioned, you know, anyways,
the W.
yes. But no, yeah, I'm totally with you. Like the real world applications to AR versus the pure entertainment aspect to VR, I think is just far more beneficial, far more efficient, far more useful, just in every category. Aside from just pure entertainment and pure fun, I think AR has VR beat significantly. And going into the bigger points to our show notes in terms of topics, I think it shows the industry is also moving into said direction, because Facebook/Meta has already moved to not have the same level of confidence in Facebook Meta, or the Meta world, the metaverse, whatever it's called.
Interesting.
And we've seen Microsoft also pull out the same level of funding and investment into Meta in the same way as like Apple and a few other big companies. But wait, there's more. Even more specifically, right? Apple has been talking about or dropping certain hints and information, has been clamoring about rumors and potential spoilers about their headset for AR, because a lot of people were wondering, is Apple working on a VR headset, an AR headset? Like, what is the point of this particular thing? And so we have some extra findings by, what's his name? Ming-Chi Kuo. I feel so bad for butchering this person's name. Let me bring up the browser, cameras and browser. Ming-Chi Kuo, yes. Talks about that there's rumors and speculations that internally at Apple, that the people behind the headset project are not confident in the quality of said device. Though we are still curious, are we going to see it this year at one of Apple's conferences? Are we going to see it next year? Like, when is Apple going to actually showcase this product, what it can do, what they've been working on, and etc. for the future? From what we've heard, specifically from Ming-Chi Kuo, Ming-Chi. I'm not sure how to pronounce Ming-Chi. It seems Apple has gone in the favor or the direction of being more towards augmented reality versus actual virtual reality, and it makes sense. Apple has not been big on gaming. They have a gaming arcade. They're trying to work their way up into it. The whole new chipset with M1 and M2, they're going to need actual developers giving time specifically for developing games on said architecture. So augmented reality makes more sense from the business perspective of Apple. That's not to say that gaming and other entertainment won't eventually make its way to the headset, but AR seems to be the better bet for Apple going forward. And even if they are seeing problems, what this shows, because a lot of people pointed out that if you look at the Apple Watch, when the Apple Watch first launched, it was not great. Like, it had like very little backing, very little support, very little developer interest, but it was there. And because it's Apple, whatever they do will move people. We might see a similar situation when it comes to the Apple headset for AR/VR, whereas the initial release is going to be geared towards that of a more business standpoint, a more enterprise standpoint. Oh, do you work in a warehouse? Do you work at Amazon and you need things like being able to track certain things going on a conveyor belt, blah, blah, blah. And then within 5 to 10 years, we will see the eventual build out and carve out of entertainment, specific areas of the Apple, I almost said the Play Store, the Apple Store, or the App, what is App? Is it App Store?
It's just App Store, I think.
App Store, not Play Store, App Store. You're going to potentially see eventually a carve out for a dedicated section on the App Store for AR and VR, for specifically for their headset in due time. But point still stands, no matter how we're looking at this, the inevitable release of the Apple AR/VR headset is likely not going to be a good launch, but it'll eventually get good in time.
You're good. My hope for Apple in general.
Oh, so I mean that's I don't know, man. That's just how we have technology in a lump sum, in my opinion. But I guess speaking on entertainment and other elements of formats of entertainment, Lewis, have you caught any good movies as of late?
I did enjoy that movie you shared with me last night. The Legend of May, I think is what it's called.
Hiei or Hai Hang.
Hey, I think it's Hey. You're right. It's in May. But hey, yeah, I have enjoyed that one. Did enjoy that.
So, animation in general has been making I want to say, not even a comeback, because it really hasn't gone anywhere, but more so on public discourse on the placement for adult animation, or just animation in general.
Well, Rick and Morty did for a while. But...
Okay, so there's been some news and updates on Rick and Morty, by the way, or I guess things tied to Rick and Morty. We're not going to talk about it here on this particular episode of the show. If you want us to cover it, though, let us know in the comment section down below and within our Discord. I don't know, we potentially might cover it. I'm waiting for more information to come out, but yeah, there's been some updates on Rick and Morty, but adult animation in general, right? Are you aware of the figure, the legend, the myth of Guillermo del Toro?
Never heard of the guy. No, yeah. You know who he is.
So people might know the name. He's a big powerhouse in the film industry, not because of like the number of films he's made, but more so because he carries this air about himself. Whereas every project he's been a part of, he has been a pivotal ingredient to its success. So when you hear Guillermo del Toro, the body of water, the sound of water, a lot of people make fun of it, saying it's the movie where the lady has sex with the fish person.
Yeah. The sea monster. Yeah.
Yes, Guillermo del Toro. So that's some of his work. He has phenomenal character design talent, like. Just his monsters, the original Hellboy with
Oh yeah,
what's his name? Yeah. What's his name? He's the one who played Hellboy specifically. He was also in the Kaiju.
I'm really struggling with things today.
Perlman. Ron Perlman? I think it's Ron Perlman.
Hold on. That sounds right. But I'm not.
God, I'm sorry. So I do think it's Ron Perlman. I think Ron Perlman is the correct name for him.
I think that's it.
And I almost said I never forget his name. I never almost forget his name, or almost never forget his name, because he is the go-to voice for Fallout, as well for typically the marketing aspect. For every single Fallout game that has come out that has a video with the quote, and I give you said quote, war never changes, is typically voiced by Ron Perlman. So that's how I have my connections to Ron Perlman, through Bethesda and the likes of the Fallout universe. Anyway, Guillermo del Toro recently got accolades. I can't remember if it was for the Pinocchio animated film on Netflix that he's the main figure behind, or if it was a different project. I forget which. But he went on when he won the award. I can't remember if it was like I can't remember which award ceremony it was. There's so many of them. I do know nobody got slapped at this one. He talked about the need for animation to not simply be shrugged off as something just for kids, and that animation is a medium more than anything that can be used for anything. And that hits home. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but when I was growing up as a kid, my biggest aspirations was to become an animator and a comic book publisher. I wanted my artistic arts to be seen and enjoyed by the world over. And I, as an adult, now 30, animation still plays a big part in my life. And I like the fact that there are individuals who create products specifically for the adult demographic, even if it utilizes the medium of animation. I will even go a step further to say, if you are an adult, check out I believe it's French or Italian produced animated movie called The Unicorn Wars. Now, unicorn, you think, oh, My Little Pony, oh, so cutesy. And if you Google Unicorn Wars and you look at a few of the stills, you might be thinking, oh yeah, it's super cute and cutesy and this is for kids. No, it's not. I implore you, it's not. And I highly recommend anyone who's into animation and who might be into philosophical debates or conversations around the ideology of what it means to have war, what it means to be human, what it means to have morals, and the lines and the depth in terms of direction between these elements. I highly recommend you go check out Unicorn Wars. Again, if you got kids, don't go watch it with your kids. It's not going to be a good time. But it is phenomenal in both of its ways to justify satire, conflict of duality in terms of, like, again, this cutesy look juxtaposed to the harshness of the philosophy behind war, death, and what it means to live. Phenomenal work. God, I've gone off on like 3 separate topics simply from this show note point. Lewis, where were we?
Movies and animation and Shrek.
Oh, right. Okay, so the original point to this topic was I have not watched a bunch of movies lately. But one of the movies that me and my wife sat down to actually watching that we enjoyed immensely was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And man, my God, like, to have a renaissance of animated movies, right? So again, to get you into a slight tangent, Lewis, have you watched Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales?
No, I've not. I've heard good things about it, though.
Okay, you need to watch it whenever you get the chance, right? Phenomenal movie. I'm not going to go into it, but just phenomenal, near perfect movie. It has an animation style that it set a trend. Every animated movie since Into the Spider-Verse has tried to mimic the art style, the animation style in particular. It is a variable frame rate shift. So you have 3D graphic animation for the movie, CGI, if you will, but it's still done in a way that skips frames, kind of like you would think comic book animation or a flip book animation, where you can see the jitteriness and the pauses between the motion. It's not as fluid. It kind of goes completely against the grain towards the fluid, smooth, 60 frames per second culture that's been cultivated within the last, I want to say, 15 to 20 years. So, Puss in Boots utilizes this animation style and this animation technique, and is potentially one of the only ones to mimic said style and do it in a way that makes it its own. And I'm sorry, man. Like, I highly recommend this movie too. Just Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. it is a great. I think it'll be if you go watch it with your kids, they'll be fine with it. But as an adult as well, you'll be cracking up on a few jokes. It has enough tension, like seeing someone, and it's a slight spoiler. Seeing someone get shot with the unicorn's horn and explode violently in a series of confetti and sprinkles caught me off guard. Highly recommended. It was phenomenal. The ending credits or whatever makes mention to potentially setting up multiple movies for Shrek. And I just want to make a note saying that if this is what they have in store for future Shrek and Shrek related movies and stories and whatnot, I am fully on board. Fully on board. Just count me in. God.
Take my money.
What is this? It was like 20 minutes of me fangasming over Puss in Boots and Shrek.
I do like myself some DreamWorks. They're one of my more favorite studios. So you really talked this one up. So now I'm excited to see it.
That's it. We got to add movie reviews and movie thoughts to the YouTube channel, because again, man, like when I tell you there are levels to the Puss in Boots Last Wish movie, from like just the kid level stuff, the adult level stuff, and then just pure. Cause it's a passion project. When you can see something that was made for other users to consume and enjoy, and you can deliberately see and make out the evidence that like time, attention, and passion, Lewis, passion was pumped into a project, you get on board with it. And when I say that, like, Puss in Boots Last Wish has so much detail, like it has such detail to the minute level that it has no business doing. It's such a I don't know, man. Again, not to just make this entire segment about how good this movie is. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Well, now I got a new movie for family movie night.
Anyway, speaking on other things that are good, and I've not tried this one out personally myself. But there was a remake to Resident Evil 4, which is the Resident Evil game that features Leon Kennedy and the president's daughter, who has been kidnapped by a bunch of fanatic middle folk Western lore type of, we do gardening in this here village and we don't take kindly to outsiders type of storyline. And it is just phenomenal. It is particularly being touted as one of, if not the best video game remake to ever grace our lips. And the reason why it's being touted as good is because it not only stays true to the original aspects to the project, but it actually makes some changes and takes some liberties of its own, and even does certain evolution to character development for characters such as Ashley, the president's daughter, in a way that adds enough new life without manipulating the core center features of the original project that you can be a newcomer or an old head and you will enjoy this product. And so I just wanted to give some extra accolades to Capcom, of all entities, on a job well done. And if viewers and listeners alike would want us to, I can do a RE4 remake, Let's Play, or a stream series if you want to see me do that. I'm not the biggest RE head out there, but if that is something that people would like to see, I am game to play it. Lewis, thoughts?
Not many on this one. I've not really played too much of the Resident Evil series. Kind of just enjoyed it from afar.
Sir,
Yeah.
we come from a time where you and I were some of the most original Left 4 Dead zombie head shooters. What is it you telling me that you have
I
not?
just never got into it. I know the storyline, right? the like super fast, crazy zombies, right? That's kind of more like a disease, right? Than like a dead type thing. I'm thinking of like what is that Netflix movie that came out? Netflix series with Ron Swanson guy. Oh yeah,
Peter,
Last of Us.
Peter, I'm sitting here. I'm shooting the zombies. I'm Joe Swanson, Peter. I'm shooting the zombies. I'm sorry. You said Swanson. I couldn't help but think Joe Swanson.
Oh, okay. I was like, where you go with that one? Yeah.
Yes and no. So Resident Evil has a very complex lore. And I'm for viewers and listeners alike who might be interested in the lore behind Resident Evil. There are different strains of viruses. The original T strain virus from Resident Evil are the slow moving, decaying zombies of people who have died. The generic zombies, so to speak. Then when we got more exposition about the lore, donating that this zombie virus genetic thing was man-made, lab experimented on, and these people are going crazy with it. Then we eventually saw the fast-moving zombies, the parasitic zombies, the complete new life form zombies. And to be honest with you, I've not kept up with much of the more recent Resident Evil, aside from like it also now incorporating mycelium, as in like mushroom fungi.
Ah, there you go.
I know if you know about Lady D, right?
No, I don't know about her.
Lady Dimitrescu, the big mommy, big mommy. How do you not know about?
No, Big Daddy.
Hold on.
Whole different series though.
Yeah, big. Let me. I'm hold on. Her name is Lady Dimitrescu, or Lady Dimitrescu, depending on how you want to. Dimitrescu. I'm putting a GIF and I said GIF. Come at me, comment section, in the Discord for EOC After Dark. Have you not seen this lady? She was all the rage.
I have seen people. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen people in Comic-Con dress up like her. Okay. I never knew who that was. Okay. I see. Demetress. Okay.
She comes from the specific era of Resident Evil that taps into the fungus level of parasitic zombie diseases, and I mean yeah, all right. So I'm not gonna lie, Lady Dimitrescu pulled me into the series again. I have learned more about Resident Evil specifically because of Lady Dimitrescu. I'm not afraid to admit it. But big deal. Want to fight about it? I like 6'8" tall ladies. All right,
With Tickle Bitty.
take old bitty. I'm a fan of Megan Thee Stallion. Why do you think? Lewis, what the hell were we even talking about? I forget.
Oh no, but look at those claws, man. I'm looking at these claws here that she's got.
Someone created a mod for that particular Resident Evil game that adds in a weapon. It's a fly swatter that does 0 damage, but you get this fly swatter, and people take it and run up behind Lady Dimitrescu and swat her on the buttocks with the fly swatter. So.
Oh my god.
Anyway. We move on to the main topic of today's show, which, believe it or not, is not Lady Dimitrescu. No matter how much I would like for it to be Lady
We just
Dimitrescu.
lost half our viewers.
I'm sorry. The coffee has me, y'all. The coffee, which is the flavor of Dimitrescu Morning Brew, has snared me into a hole that is unlike any other. Okay, so the main topic for today's show is artificial intelligence. And so, Lewis, I have to ask you, what are your just general thoughts on people's expectations of artificial intelligence in the current landscape that is the 2023?
Well, for those watching, I think their expectations, as well as mine, are like up here, and like reality is like down here. It's not the Skynet I was promised of by youth. Still, in my experience, needs quite a bit of hand holding. I've been trying the CGBT and Copilot. That's what I've been trying out lately.
Have you tried out Bard at all?
Oh yeah, I have been trying out Bard. Not as frequently. I want to play with that one a bit more though. But that one seems a bit more behind than CGBT. Even for simple things. I think I asked it one day, what's the best hotel to stay at this like general area? And then they're like okay, like where is it? And like zoomed in and Google Maps, like there's nothing here. And then like I removed like the address because sometimes it gives the exact address, but there's no place there, and there's like no hotels there, like in a
No, Lewis.
1 mile radius.
You simply misunderstood the recommendation. It's talking about Crackhead Dave's Corner, like
Clearly. Crackhead Dave's Kraken Emporium. Bed and breakfast.
get a crack rock with your eggs every morning, guaranteed.
A little bit of a hole in the wall, but you know. Crack every morning, 8 a.m.
Not just a hole in the wall, a hole in the tooth as well. No. I'm sorry. Oh man. For viewers and listeners out there, if you actually have any interest in particularly seeing our reactions and more intimate thoughts on individual artificial platforms, that being Bard or ChatGPT / Bing now, or Dolly, Llama, there's a few other ones out there. Let us know. I'm not opposed to creating dedicated videos specifically talking about the results and things of each individual platforms. But speaking on the actual aspects of expectations, no, I'm completely with you. It is nowhere near the level of concern, warning, fear, or even oh, look what AI can do. It's not there yet. It's not. And that's not to diminish concerns, and we'll talk about concerns in a second when it comes to artificial intelligence. But it's to give you more of a reality check. Like, okay, if you were given a product and it said that this product could do X, Y, and Z, and the product can really only do X, not yet Y, not yet Z, then clearly you would want to be aware that the Y and the Z of said product is not yet ready.
Like that's a self-driving car.
But the fear and the concern and the hype stems from news such as in favor of ChatGPT, which, you know, again, ChatGPT could not do math. It could talk to you and respond in ways that made you feel like you were talking to a sentient being, but it couldn't do math. Like I'm not sure what level of artificial intelligence we want to look at when you say what's 2 + 2 and it says 2 + 2 is a cow. A problem has appeared. But when you get an email saying from Microsoft that now Bing's integration with ChatGPT now has tie-ins to Wolfram Alpha. Well, that just changes the game.
It does.
Holy crap, now I can talk about cows, horses. My horse tastes amazing. It tastes just like raisins. And it can help me out with my algebraic homework. Holy crap.
That was pretty handy growing up. Wolfram Alpha.
it really, which, okay, so let me double check the show notes. I want to see exactly what level are we at. So this is reality, and then okay, so I'll save it for the actual final segment about the future of AI, right? But so going back to the actual basics of artificial intelligence, we know we now have the text generation, image generation, and sound generation. Lewis, you shared with me, or shared with the EOZ Discord community not too long ago, the most horrific nightmare fuel thing I've ever seen. You want to talk about what you shared with us, Lewis?
Oh, what was it? I think it was Will Smith eating like a bowl of cereal or something.
Spaghetti, Lewis, pasta.
Oh, spaghetti. There you go. I'm surprised you got the spaghetti right. Oh my god, that's the only thing you got right. Like, oh my god. That's like Slenderman type like nightmare feel. That was so bad.
I'm looking at the video now. Let me. I'm gonna pull up the thing for.
Oh wait.
I'm sorry.
That killed it.
It's the eyes, Lewis. The eyes.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it good. Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, everybody.
It's like he's not even eating it half the time. It's just like a beard that it just puts on him.
Yes.
Kind of reminds me like a bit more of like Steve Urkel, like just like the way he's like, right?
Oh, okay, so you're gonna kill me. Look, I'm looking at these videos. I'm gonna die, man. But yes, it looks a lot like Steve Urkel. It genuinely does. And oh my god. So and this kind of brings me to the point, right, about the crux of artificial intelligence in terms of the reality of it. And essentially, 9 times out of 10, if you look a little bit closer, you're going to be able to distinguish what is artificially intelligent generated versus what is not. And when we look at the potential of AI and what it can do, again, that video is recent from the recording of this session, and should show you that artificial intelligence has not yet reached a level of concern about our wildest fears. Now, and we're not going to transition over to the next topic just yet, but to give you a preface of what we're going to go into the discussion with later, it is important to note that this is the worst that we're ever going to see of AI today. Because as technology flourishes, as technology gets a staple on the cultural zeitgeist of people's minds, it tells people this is what people are looking at, therefore I'm going to put more time and attention and resources in this area. And it's going to improve. And it's only going to get better and better and better and better and better until it is at that point that we should be far more concerned about. But we're not there just yet. So, Lewis, what other funny memes do we have in terms of AI today?
We got quite a few. I think I've shared with you these past few weeks. A lot of spoofs of popular people getting their. Well, if you pay close attention and listen to the original content, it's not exactly their same voice, but it's pretty close.
Are you talking about President Obama and good old Trump and my good buddy Biden?
But I think there's a whole YouTube channel right now of them.
I
I
think
keep on
so.
seeing them. Yeah, I keep seeing them pop up. Yeah, those are pretty funny. I've seen a few of them. I think like maybe five of them.
For those who are curious, we're referring to it's called like Biden and the Gang, Trump and the Gang, Obama and the Gang. It is AI generated voiceovers of Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden sitting together doing things like playing Grand Theft Auto Online, Uno, going to the beach together, being at an arcade, playing Overwatch, and it's a great time. Yeah, I didn't think AI content would win me over as fast. This particular brand of content has single-handedly made me a supporter of artificially intelligent generated content. It just has.
Agreed. Agreed. It's gonna lead to some funny stuff. And there's some YouTubers have found out some more saucy stuff with AI generated imagery of your favorite Twitch star or YouTube stuff. I'm thinking of the one that was this I forget the YouTuber's name. Was caught like watching some like Pokemon AI generated naughty stuff. I have to look it up
Oh
now.
yeah, no, yeah. I remember that being a whole
Yeah, he
whole
was
thing.
he made like an apology thing with like his girlfriend there. He's like in tears. Like I'm not when they cracking up as they watch the video. I forget the dude's name now.
Yeah, I don't know his name either. He's not someone that I watch regularly, but I also was like, why is your wife there, dude? Like, look, okay, and it's and again, we will get to the potential problems with artificial intelligence and what it can do, and essentially also where it has been, because this is nothing new. Deep fakes have existed for a long time, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. But I just if I can just give it, I can't say I can't give advice because the Twitch dude is a much bigger internet staple than you or I. I'll just say this. Look, man, I'm not gonna sit here and make a cry video with like my wife in the shot who like I just I don't know, man. Just say I'm sorry. Yeah, just do better and take some time off.
Yeah,
It's weird, man. That's all I'll say.
pretty cringeworthy. I would probably describe it.
Before I get to like the next minor topic within this little topic segment, I have to ask: have you seen the Meat Canyon Andrew Tate Sneeko video?
I've not watched that one. I did watch the Wojcicki one, which is another one I actually forgot to bring up about her swapping out with the new guy. However, I don't think much changed there.
Okay,
Sure.
okay. I just again, this our podcast show is not about the political drama between YouTubers. I'm not even a big fan of like Moist Critical or Sneeko or yes, I think Sneeko is his name. Whatever. I like animation. I'm a Meat Canyon fan. I got the context to the video about Sneeko, and I would just say that the Meat Canyon video was just absolutely freaking hilarious. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. So on a more serious note, around the dangers of artificial intelligent created content today, as in our current generation, the current level of AI, and the threats that it can pose, right? So have you heard about this story in terms of Australia with the lady who was battling cancer? Got scammed out of I think $5,000.
No, I've not seen that particular one, but it's something I think is going to happen regardless.
Yeah. So to give context as to some of the dangers that I'm referring to about what AI can do today, is essentially exponentially empower current social phishing scams that exist today. All right. The idea of an old grandmother or grandfather getting called and being told that their grandchild is in prison and needs bail money to get out due to something that they're being accused of and is not guilty of is a common scam. All right. When you now have the ability to find somebody's actual grandchild on social media and find a video of theirs and pull their voice clip and then filter it through an AI audio generated platform.
Oh wow!
Right. And now you're able to generate your own text and have them say it and sound similar to said grandchild. It makes these scams significantly worse. And so the story when it comes to this young, I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm saying this young woman, but she's a grandmother, but this young grandmother who is battling cancer, she got a phone call and was actually played her grandchild's voice saying that they need help in the situation that they're in and to fund or to wire $5,000 to the contact also on said phone. And of course she did it. And the situation is what the situation is. And it's sad that this is being played out, or like this is quite literally something that I would think is cartoonishly evil, like you would see in a cartoon episode or a movie or something where you have what's his name, the guy who loves feet, director Quentin Tarantino would have a villain be so villainous that there'd be some offhand remark about him tricking an old lady who has cancer out of $5,000 utilizing the voice of their grandchild. That is quite literally a comical villain level movie thing. And here we have it actually done in reality. And that is the dangers that AI can pose today. And I have to then ask, in 10 years, when the audio modules for taking 5, 10, 15, 30-second audio clips is improved significantly to the point where we won't. An older lady might fall for it today, but in 10 years, we might have the evolution of AI so great, so good, that even a 20-year-old who is versed on the actual evidence and the impact of AI within their lifetime might not be able to readily spot the difference or hear and distinguish fact from fiction. It's dangerous.
Indeed. Yeah. That's the biggest threat I see right there. We've just given scammers an English degree with just the current stuff that's out. You could generate a good amount of text prompts. I mean, at the end of the day, like ChatGPT is like a English language model, so it's really good at creating like paragraphs, English text response to that sort of thing. But yeah, it's only going to get better. And of course, I think what this brings to question is how much we share online, right? How much we publicly share and throw out there, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's a bit of a small threat. Bigger if you're like a public figure, right? What you put out there, but
Well,
for the average like Joe Schmo, like they might want to start like pulling back, right, on what they share.
So, I didn't know if I wanted to put this into the actual show notes and the topics of like general thoughts going through my head, but I mean, I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it only because I think it's a matter of time before it's actually done and implemented into in a sense. So, like Lewis, today we have certain services and platforms that act as a watchdog on the dark web and any password dumps, credential dumps, account dumps, and etc. Then you'll see like, oh, your email was found within this dump, and this password was associated with it. Therefore, it's compromised and no longer secure. Right? Like we saw it with LastPass, Bitwarden. A few other services out there that exist. NordVPN has a service that keeps an eye out on the dark web for password dumps and things and accounts to see if your email associated with your NordVPN account is also associated, etc. Yada, yada, yada. That's already a current thing that exists today. Imagine someone who has ill intentions gets artificial intelligence platform and uses web crawlers to go through and try to find account dumps, emails, and passwords, and then say, okay, well, I'm gonna use this AI platform to crawl social media platforms and see if anything has changed or been updated or etc. Or see what platforms you may have posted about that you might be a regular visitor to. So then you have AI doing multiple things. They're finding actual leakage of your account information. That's one. It's now also on the prowl, on the hunt to see where you are most active. And then you might have the person then also say, hey, AI, try to brute force your way into these accounts.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, current AI things that are out there, they have like caps and like restrictions, but now you could just there's ways around those caps, right? It's software at the end of the day, and there's software bugs, so there's ways around it. And the hacking language is now English. So if you're good with words, right, you can find a way to say what you're saying and then have it read between the lines and give you what you want. So yeah, even among these popular giants, there's ways around these restrictions. So yeah, and even if you don't use something that big, there's going to be alternate products, right, that aren't going to be as polished. They're going to have flaws in it they could use to access these things. And well, I imagine state actors too will make their own solutions. Maybe their source code will get leaked out that has less restrictions. And well, it's by the AIs, I think, at this point is what it's going to turn into.
So I don't know, man. I'm seeing the various different levels of problems that can currently arise and what problems will definitely arise in the future. And I don't have them in the show notes now, but like I've seen discussions about like user finds a way to have ChatGPT get Bing/ChatGPT to generate Windows keys from anything between like Windows 7 to Windows 96 to also Windows 10. That's wild to me, man. Like, and it's funny because Microsoft bought ChatGPT, integrated it with Bing, and now you have it literally spitting out, keys for its own product. So,
Clever, yeah, pretty clever.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be wild to see where technology goes when it comes to AI and the way that it's abusing certain elements and certain technologies. Like even right now, right? So Microsoft acquired ChatGPT. I'll put my phone on silent. So my brothers are. I have a group chat with family, and they're being active. But no, there's a. So Microsoft acquired ChatGPT, and whatever. So they're integrating it with Bing. So now I believe Bing has overtaken Google in terms of search interactions and users and unique users a couple of weeks ago. Primarily because people are just interested to see what ChatGPT can do for a Bing search, result. But yeah, so Google's like, oh, we're gonna release Bard ahead of time, and you mentioned how like Bard seems to be like less functionally inclined. But that's intentional because Google does not want people breaking Bard in the same way that people are currently breaking Bing/ChatGPT. They don't want you to associate Google with making a artificial intelligence make some anti-Semitic statements. So they're being very cautionary about Bard's rollout. But again, that boils down to now we have these two juggernauts, Microsoft and Google, battling it out over who's going to maintain dominance in terms of search results, right? Let alone, me, I'm gonna say go to DuckDuckGo, but even Duck has its caveats, specifically with Microsoft, oddly enough, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know, man. What now has me on a next level of concern is that I know Google is also one of the big names that is in the arms race for quantum computing. And they have a quantum computer. It's done certain computations of quantum scale. But nothing worries me more than the idea of them going, yeah, I'm just going to allow Bard to connect and communicate with our quantum computer. Like that's a big no-no to me. Like I'm super concerned about that, actually.
I don't know. I haven't given that much thought. I guess what does quantum computing actually give you? Does it give you more speed, more computational space?
So the biggest concern I have when it comes to quantum computing, I don't have any worries like, oh, it's going to computate the actual logic and mathematics behind a black hole and create a conundrum that generates a black hole. Like, no, none of that. I mean, that's all possible, but like that's not. I don't think it's the go-to for any person who is currently working on a quantum project, right? Quantum computing has me concerned about encryption and how easy it's going to be for a quantum computer to break encryptions of the current standards. Hell, even a 512.
I think ECD 5519 is the latest standard.
Yeah.
I think RSA is no longer recommended last I checked.
Yeah. And granted, like it's not going to be like, oh, everybody who uses encryption is going to be in debt. No, it's about the precedents, right? When quantum computing is able to crack our standard level of encryption, that's going to essentially pose a situation which basically means we will not be able to create anything on an encrypted level that can best a quantum computing without ourselves having a quantum computer to generate quantum levels of encryption, right? So then imagine if Bard AI, and I'm not even talking about like fully becoming sentient and becoming its own thing and wanting to wreak havoc as Skynet, but like just say the government goes to Google and goes like, oh, we have this warrant or this legalese letter that says we're going to have access to Bard, and then they use Bard to do a large scale decryption level thing, and like, and again, I this is total tinfoil hat. I'm not sitting here saying that political party is coming for your encrypted files or your weapons or your freedoms, your liberties. But I am saying that could potentially be a thing that someone in politics might want in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, etc. Do not let crazy conspiracy theories concern you about today. It's not about the today. It's about what today will make possible for tomorrow that has me mostly thinking about the concerns of the future. That's what I'm trying to drive home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know you make some good points. Let's see. In that future, well, I'm guessing whoever's doing the attacking, it'd be easiest to attack like the big fish, right?
Mm.
Like Google per se, just brute force of logins. Got some easy data there. Microsoft, government agencies. I guess this again brings up the privacy argument again, right? And the more stuff like you host yourself, right? I guess the better. Right? They're gonna mostly, I think, be going for like the big guys because that's gonna be a whole pool, like the jackpot per se, right?
Yeah. It's it's actually really funny as well. So again, not going into too much personal information, but I my day job, I'm in the industry of cloud automation engineering. I'm a senior cloud automation engineer currently, and we have interest in artificial intelligence and the implications that it can involve in, and just just that in general. It is really concerning being able to see how certain big obelisk levels of entities, be it Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Apple, you name it, are tied into some very specific services. And when you think about security as a whole and how an impact of security in one node could cause problems for the entirety of the structure. Yeah, if AI could get into Google's databases, just seeing who pays for like Google email domains for their businesses, that alone is enough to cause serious damage. Like you don't have to have like full keys control to some businesses' domain access. But just simply knowing what tools they use, what emails they have, I think you're muted, Lewis.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking like LTT and how much worse of a thing that would have been, right? If they were like sneaky about it, right? They could have just been collecting and taking what is it, sponsors from under them. Um, I mean, I guess that would have been the best case scenario.
Yeah. Matter of fact, actually speaking on the Linus Tech Tips hack, that's actually a kind of a clear indication of the points made, right? I would highly recommend for anyone who's interested in like the ins and outs of that entire scenario. Go and watch their videos. They talk very intimately about it. They talk very close to the internal aspects of it. And again, I got to give big props to not just Linus, not just Luke, but the entirety of the team behind Linus Media Groups and Linus Tech Tips. To be able to have that happen and then be very candid about the situation, the scenario, and give a lot of information. Yeah, like the simple fact that they did not have the most total amount of destruction on their end, like, so yeah, they had videos deleted from the YouTube channel, multiple YouTube channels hacked, etc., yada yada yada. Imagine if it was what they thought. So like Linus talked about how he thought it was his two-factor authentication being implicated, or his account actually being accessed, etc. If they could get access to the float plane database, see the actual credit card numbers of their users. The LTT hack was great for them because it moved people away from YouTube more so to their float plane services, which is more power to them. But if the hack was even just a little bit different, and they actually had gotten the credit card user information to people who subscribe to float plane, that could be company ending levels of disaster. Because when you have, say, your user base and all of their sensitive credentials leaked or dropped or dumped, etc., with their credit card information as well, that's you're done. You're done. Especially for like a startup service like Floatplane, it would have been game over.
Yeah, for sure.
Lewis, we need to
Yeah.
create a video platform now.
Like a boat plane or something.
Boat
Boatplane.com.
play. America's deadliest catch. I don't know.
Gonna look up the domain right now, see if it's available.
Don't tip me, dude. Oh man.
Uh,
But no, like so, I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested to see where AI goes into the future. I'm keeping just three eyes on Google specifically because I'm very interested to see if we're gonna ever see in the next, let's say, 7 to 10 months any mention of their quantum computing applications in any of the same press release, some show notes, versioning control for Bard. If I see anything inkling towards their quantum computing being associated with their AI bot, Bard, I am going to lose my freaking mind. That is my biggest concern right now.
See, for me, I don't see much of a computation problem. I think for me, it's more of a data problem. How do you source good quality input? That's right. The internet is full of questionable input all over the place. So I mean, sure, you can blacklist a few sites, but I'm thinking of like Yahoo Answers, right? How many of those question answers are like troll posts? How many of them are actually legitimate people trying to help other legitimate people? And how you differentiate?
Lewis,
For me, it's more of a data problem.
according to Chat GPT, the Earth is flat. So like I don't know what this nonsense of quality control you're referring to. Like the quality of the data is always good, Lewis. It's the internet.
Or like Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia is an interesting project that's sometimes got some questionable accuracy on things. So it's like,
Lewis.
where do you source your data?
Lewis, I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with Wikipedia showing that the 44th president was Louis Sandoval. That's completely accurate, Lewis. So
We'll
says
get that
ChatGPT.
just one day. Wikipedia editors, just as a joke, one day. Archive the URL.
Oh, dude, no. Oh, God. I should have added this. I don't know we're already did the ending of our last topics. There was some news regarding things like the Wayback Machine. I think they're getting ready to close and stop.
Hmm.
Hold on. Let me see if I can't pull
Interesting,
it up.
interesting.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot. Excuse me.
Like the Internet Archive website, whatever.
Yeah. I forget where I heard. It might have been through Luc Lanfreniere from LTT. But I heard something about like either a law being pushed in some type of country that might make it shut down, or their plans. I can't remember. Let me see.
Interesting.
Hold on.
I know they've also been under some scrutiny as well. If we talk about like archive.org, right?
Yeah.
That archiver? Okay. Yeah, some people don't call them true archivists. They think they have like connections to some like political figure and like they help remove some like old posts from some site now. I don't again, grain of salt, I don't have the source on here. So let me go
Same.
into detail.
I mean, I'll do a little bit more digging. If you need to add it to the show notes for the next podcast session, we'll talk about it then. And that might be a good idea because I'm actually quite passionate about archiving in general. And I guess to give a little bit of extra, I've probably talked about it before on the show. My wife is an archivist, and she has a master's degree, leading into what allowed her to get into the archivist industry. Digital archiving has been one of the more latest aspects she studied for her master's program, which I would take interest into because digital archiving is what I'm all about. Because like, I don't pirate. I archive, Lewis. I archive.
I think there's a difference there, Zane, between data hoarder and archivist. So I'll throw that out there.
No, Lewis. It's all archiving. It's all archiving. It's all archiving. but no, it's something that I'm very interested in, and so seeing her also, her as my wife, talk about her day job, and I'm not gonna reveal too much. I just don't know. It's a very interesting thing, and so she also has an interest into certain YouTubers, like I believe it's called Blame It on Jorge, which I think my cousin has also provided voiceover work for on certain videos. So not sponsored, but shout out to Blame It on Jorge. And a few other YouTubers who are all about lost media. Lost media as in things that are created by certain corporations such as Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, and etc. that may not have had proper archival of their works, from televisional media to marketing, commercials, etc. And so these YouTubers will have groups where they go and try to find this lost media. They'll reach out to producers, executives from that time period and say, like, hey, do you own these files? People are interested in seeing them. And if you have no plans to release them with Nickelodeon or whatever for, some type of relaunch, then can you please share those files so that we can simply ensure they're not lost to time? And it's this really big deal. It's this really big thing. And I'm all for it. I support it. And I will say one of the more latest aspects that I saw that was like probably not recovered, but at least shared and documented for digital recovery or digital archiving is the jelly-filled Lego or Lego My Ego commercials, if you remember.
Huh. No way.
They're very disturbing commercials. It's all about like the waffles being cannibals. So like the waffle will sneak into like strawberry jelly jams mailbox, and so you'll see like this anthropomorphic blob of jelly, strawberry jelly, wake up for work, grab his suitcase, puts on a tie, grabs his cup of coffee, chugs it down, walk outside, getting ready to head to work. And then he gets assaulted by this waffle jumping out of the mailbox, grabbing the jam or the jelly and pulling it in. And they have like this blood-curdling battle, only for the waffle to then jump out with his belly full and red, filled with strawberry jelly or strawberry jam. And you're God. This is a very disturbing commercial because I'm pretty sure this is like somebody's kink.
We're selling waffles? Wait a minute, I feel like we got lost somewhere along the way here.
Right. So it's a very disturbing commercial. I'm glad it got archived, but like, yeah, that's history. That is important documentary history that the world should not forget.
Oh man.
So, Louis, you have any closing statements since we've been rambling for almost 2 hours?
Maybe none of this will matter because the alien invasions will happen before the AI. We can create the AI to fight it.
Well, I mean, our generation has lived through how many crises since? Because we were in high school when 9/11 happened. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I think I was younger. No.
You were high. Yeah,
I don't remember now.
Yeah, you'd been in high school. 'Cause I remember I was in. Oh shoot, were we? Yeah. Because they happened in 20.
No, it was 2001.
Oh no, it wasn't. Was it 2001?
Yeah, no, it would have been.
Oh shoot.
No, I was in elementary school.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was in elementary school.
I'm not googling when did 9/11 happen. I swear I'm American. I know American history.
Your wife works as a what again?
Oh no, yeah, it was 2001. Was it 2001? Oh no, yeah. No, I'm mixing up memories. I'm mixing up when. And again, should I even say this out loud on the show?
No, should you?
I'm mixing up when Barack Obama was inaugurated into the office with 9/11.
That's 2011, I think.
Well, he was inaugurated, I think, 2010 for his 2011 actual. You know when the lead up to him actually taking power. But I was in high school when Barack Obama was became president, and we watched that in the band room when I was in high school. But
Yeah.
when 9/11 happened, I was in middle school because I remember my third grade teacher. It was because I think they were in third grade. My third grade teacher opened up the emergency exit door and looked up into the air. And I was just like, as a kid, like, why are you looking outside into the sky? Like, what, lady? And it was like, oh, you're all gonna go home early. And it's like, okay, cool, free, or short school day. I'm not gonna complain. And then I remember getting home when my dad was home, and I was just like, you shouldn't be home. You had work today. And he was just like, come sit down and like let's watch the news and let me explain something to you. That was the 9/11 memory. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's 2001's a long time ago. I looked it up for reference. I'm like, yeah, that's 2001's the year that what is it? It's like the real Slim Shady song came out. Like 3 weeks. Yeah, Marshall
9/11 was caused by Eminem, Martha Mashers. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Allegedly, that's a joke. Because I think we can actually be sued for saying that. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke, Marshall. God. Anyway, okay. So yeah. Listeners, viewers, apologies for the show going on as long as it is. We had a lot of topics to bleed through. And we're probably going to have a lot more on the next session as well. Again, we might talk a little bit more about AI on the next session, maybe a little bit more about archiving and archival science as a whole. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of anything else that has happened while we were out.
I mean, I did bring up a little bit there with Susan Wojcicki.
He's dead?
YouTube CEO, like first up and down.
Yes.
That was a fairly biggish thing that happened. I don't know. For me, the person that replaced her didn't really change anything.
No.
I mean, it seems more the same.
Not at all. I looked into old boy's background, and a lot of like staple YouTube names and etc. and like their thoughts and opinions about the person because like they've met him at YouTube events. No, apparently.
Oh, okay. So we met him.
Yeah, like he's essentially will likely be just like Wojcicki. Like it'll be the same stuff every day. In fact, and again, like I guess on YouTube news in general. And I guess by the time I have a few things planned in terms of like our channels and maybe a few new channels, alternate sources. We're on Odyssey currently. We might be coming to Rumble as well. We'll some things I gotta check out and look into. And maybe we might have Seaboat, American Boat, American Dream Boat. I don't know, our own video
U-boat.
platform. Yeah, U-Hauling boat.
U-boat.
We'll see. But yeah, YouTube has been going through a few things as well. They recently pulled back on some of their rulings around profanity. So I think we can say certain swear words again within the first 5 minutes of a YouTube video. But like at this point, it's whatever, man.
Like, ooh, thank you. Right? Like you could just go somewhere else and do that.
Yeah. I guess since we're at the tail end of the show anyway, a bit of extra information about any of the long-term listeners / viewers. People who may have been interested in the EOZ Project Red, our content manager software that I was looking into with the YouTube API to have people who aren't partners with YouTube being able to have role-based levels of access with other users to be able to upload, modify, and edit YouTube video stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much completely confirmed to be scrapped now. YouTube does have their own form of content management stuff. Granted, again, it's only for partners, which we lost our partnership program to a few years back. I'm not sure if anyone remembers. YouTube, how dare you? I'm going to get revenge. one of these days, YouTube, just be mindful. I'm coming for you. Don't worry. Maybe I might go to floatplane instead. We'll see. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not necessarily interested in that anymore. Google has killed our API access like 4 times as well, and they've also have rolled out so many updates to their API that it's not something that I feel like I want to try to keep pushing as a project to support. We'll see how things go, though. I might find a need to return back to it. Who knows? I'm just getting very tired of other platforms' APIs going through very traumatic updates that breaks functionalities of actual functions and modules. But I don't want to get on a developer rampage currently, so I guess I'll just leave that there. Lewis, any actual final closing words?
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode.
Yeah, thank you again, and I apologize that you've sat through nearly 2 hours of us rambling with this nonsense. No, I'm sorry. We'll see you all in the next episode of the show, some future YouTube videos. We have some EOG, Essence of Gaming videos slated for release. They'll be coming out shortly. I think Ryan is also back from his vacation, so we're going to get back into creating some Dying Light 2 content. So be on the lookout, or just be mindful of certain content for our YouTube channels. And we'll see you there and see you then. But as always, take care, drink water, be safe, and just disconnect from social media from time to time. Be healthy. Check yourself out. Be cool. Be good. Do you. We'll see you on other platforms. So take care. Also, shout out to One Piece. One Piece has been super wild and super crazy lately. So I just throw that in there last second. So yeah. Essence of Zen After Dark is recorded by and for geeks and nerds alike. The intro and outro songs were provided by ProLeader, who you can find at proleader.bandcamp.com. That is PROLETER.bandcamp.com. If you have suggestions for topics you want to see on the show, then feel free to drop by discord.chat/Essence of Zen and join the community and give us said suggestions. Thank you.